Good morning, everyone. Welcome everyone to another new week. We continue our book reading this morning, Advanced Selling Strategy by Brian Tracy, and we are in chapter 9, How to Make Powerful Presentation. Last week, we were looking at the hot buttons in selling and the approaches you can use to uncover your customers or your client's hot button. We also looked at the approaches, the questions which you can ask your customer to know exactly what their hot button or what their pain points are. So there are a series of questions you can use to uncover their chief buying motive, like I explained last week and like we read last week. One of these ways which you can uncover their buying motive is by using the hypothetical approach. And the second way is using the magic wand technique. The third way is measuring your progress, and the fourth way is giving it away. That is asking your prospect or your client if they will take your product or patronize your services if the product or service was free. Today on page 335, we'll be looking at the final way of uncovering your prospect's hot buttons in terms of selling. I said uncovering the prospect buying strategy. Uncovering the prospect buying strategy. So a final way of uncovering your prospect's hot button and overcoming his resistance is by asking him how he goes about making a purchase like this, or how he has done it before. You might ask, have you ever bought a product or service like this before? If he has, you then ask, how did you go about making your decision? How did you know it was the right decision at that time? What steps did you follow to come to your conclusion? Every person has a buying strategy for a particular product or service. It may involve listing the most important factors desired in the purchase, discussing it with other people, compromising, shopping with a variety of suppliers, careful evaluation of the sales literature, negotiating the final terms and conditions, and so on. By asking the prospect how he has gone about buying a particular product or service in the past, either yours or something similar to yours, he will tell you the process that you must follow to sell him in the present. People are creatures of habit. They do what they have done in the past and what they are comfortable with. They prefer the familiar way of walking through a major decision and are reluctant to change. They get into their comfort zone, and you must get into their comfort zone with them. You must present your product or service in a way that is consistent with how he has made decisions and how he has bought on previous occasions. By getting in step with your prospect and structuring your presentation so that it dovetails with the way he is most comfortable buying, you will find that making sales become easier and easier. Many salespeople make the mistake of trying to sell without ever asking the prospect how he or she goes about making this kind of a decision. For example, a prospect might say, once I have decided I need a particular product, I get bids from at least 3 suppliers, and then I have my team evaluate the bids before we make a final decision. If you're the first vendor to talk to this customer, you might destroy your chance of making the sales by trying to get the customer to purchase your product before he has had a chance to evaluate the other 2 suppliers. You would be much better off by making an excellent presentation, encouraging him to check with other suppliers, and then close your presentation with the assurance that Whatever else you look at, I promise you that we will take better care of you than any other company in the market. When you close your meeting with this low pressure, no pressure ending, you will be investing correctly in a long-term relationship, building trust, and selling professionally, all at the same time. The customer will often tell you what his hot button is by the kind of questions he asks. If he keeps coming back to a particular feature of your offering, asking for more details or requesting more information or how other people have used and benefited from this particular feature, it will soon be clear to you what is most important to him. Once you have found the hot button, you must bring the whole sale to hang on this one particular point. You must convince him overwhelmingly that if he buys from you, he will definitely get the key benefits that he is talking about. Whenever he raises an objection, you bring his attention back to these key buying features as being the predominant reason your product or service is the very best choice for him, among those that are available. Another good way to present, or rather, another good way to press the hot button and to reinforce his desire for what you're selling is with what is often called the relevant story close. The relevant story close or approach is based on the fact that people think analytically with their left brains, but make buying decisions with their right brains. The left brain is stimulated by facts and information presented in a linear fashion. The right brain is stimulated by stories, anecdotes, and images. When you tell a story about another person who has used your product or service or failed to use it, you activate the prospect's right brain and make a much stronger impression on him than all the sales literature in the world. If you look at your own buying experience, you will find that the stories that salespeople told you about others who had bought the same product remained with you months and even years after you made the buying decision. You will have forgotten all the informations contained in the brochures and product literatures, but you will still remember the stories almost as vividly as if you heard them yesterday. Whenever you want to reinforce the wisdom of the prospect buying your product or service, tell a success story about someone else who bought it and used it and was very happy as a result. If the prospect is hesitating, you can say, I understand your hesitation. You remind me of Bill Smith at ABC Company, who was also hesitant about buying our product. He decided to go ahead anyway, and just last week, he told me that it was the best buying decision he ever made. He said that the value and enjoyment he has received from our product greatly outweighed the small additional costs. He's now thinking of buying two more and has recommended us to several of his friends in the same industry. Every company and every salesperson has success stories from people who have bought and used the product satisfactorily. One good success story can put you on a psychological 5 yards line. People are more concerned about transferability of results than almost anything else when they make a buying decision. When they hear that someone else similar to them has bought and used the product and is very happy with their decision, they often become eager to enjoy the same benefits themselves. When you wave into your sales presentation story about other prospects who have used and enjoyed the particular features and benefits you're explaining, you raise the prospect buying temperature towards the boiling point. You can also use failure stories to motivate your prospect. If the prospect says he wants to think it over and maybe he makes a decision in the coming year, you can tell the story about someone else who also decides to think it over. You can then go on to explain how he called you back later and told you how sorry he was that he put off the buying decision, or how you can tell a story about a prospect who bought a cheap product from someone else and how sorry he was later. A good failure story is often a stimulant that overcomes buying inertia and causes a prospect to move ahead on your offer. By using relevant success and failure stories, you trigger the alternative buying motive of desire and fear. People buy products either because of desire for gain or fear of lose. If you tell a success story and a failure story, you trigger both motivation in the same presentation. By illustrating your products through the stories of people who have bought and were happy, and comparing them with people who failed to buy and regret it, you often overwhelm any hesitation that the prospect has and cause him to go ahead immediately. Okay, this is where we'll stop for our reading this morning. Talking about the final way of uncovering your prospect hot button, that is uncovering your prospect buying strategy. The first few paragraphs we've read here, in summary, is just trying to tell us that we should find out our prospect buying strategy. Find out what they do before they buy something. Are they the kind of people that gather information? Do they go for market survey? Do they compare prices with other distributors or other vendors before patronizing you or buying your product and service? Find out how they buy, what processes they go through, what are their strategies for buying before they get something. There are some people who will go for market survey, compare prices, from one vendor to the other, trying to know what this person's price is, what the next person's price is this person's quality okay, is this person's quality not okay, how much is it giving me for social quantity, and all those things. All these are buying strategies of most prospects or most customers. So it is important to find out their buying strategy, so it will help you to be familiar with them and to help you to know how to sell to them. Secondly, it will help to lower the pressure, or it won't even add any pressure to the client or to the prospect, because you're trying to sell to them the way they know how to buy. You want them to go through brochures, make their own research and the rest of it, then come back to you. But in the process of everything, still try to make them know that your product is the best and can take care of whatever needs that they desire and whatever fear that they want to take away. Then towards the last paragraphs, it was talking about storytelling. Not only telling your prospect or your client about successful stories, also tell them about failure, stories concerning failure. So stories are very, very important in terms of trying to sell to your prospect or your client. Their prospects or their customers who have come in here and they're like, this is your product, this one, are you sure to not do this one, are you sure you not do that one? We've had success stories and we've had say failure stories. We've had customers who bought and they've given good testimonials about our product. We've had customers who have not bought, but they used something else, and the next they're calling back and like, I want to come and buy this thing. I tried using this one yesterday, but it didn't work. It burnt. It did this one. I just thank God it didn't, affect my appliances and the rest of it. Let me have this one. Let me have this one. Stories are important when trying to also, sell or close sales with your customers. So that's just a brief summary of our reading for today, and I hope we've gained and learned something from today's reading. Thank you.